Hello, and good morning. This is a pup in the life. So, today, something that always pops up in mom's conversations around technology in general, and now that relates AI in the specifics, but it can it can be related to technology in general. And the question is this, and we can use a sporting metaphor, which is if you think about it, and you think about tries, what people call at bats in baseball, or we can say free kicks or penalty shots in the soccer world, in the football world, and whatnot. So, what do you think about who is gonna be able to perform better? One person that has, for example, tried 20 times, and the person that has tried 200 or 2,000 times. It's going to be the person that tried the most. And this is math that most people don't like because it's math that relates to something that's quite boring to do. So try things. And that, to be honest, is not even something that most people are even willing to admit that it's needed. And so it's not glamorous for us to talk about it, especially on the public eye, but it's actually the only thing that matters at some point. It's the amount of times that you try, because it's the amount of times that you try that gives you the most ability to understand how good or how bad you've done it. And so once you start thinking about this, you realize that this also relates to companies and technology in general. Because if you think about it, today, for example, with AI, people are just thinking about, okay, so there is something that I should do. There is something that it's possible for me to be able to create with AI in my company. Sometimes some things that are not. And so if you think about it, you realize at some point that the things that you are thinking that are potentially useful might not be that. And the things that you don't realize might be potentially useful might be that. And so you need to accept that once adopting technology, you might just be trying things that don't work. And it's totally normal for it to be this type of approach. You might just try things that are not useful. You might just try things that overcomplicate your stuff and don't simplify it. You might try things that, on the other hand, might just be exactly what you were expecting. But guess what? You will never know if you don't try. And so who do you think is going to win? And we heard this on a podcast on Masters of Scale recently, which is actually a very easy way to explain this. Who do you think is going to win in a market in which this thing, so AI, is not going away and its applications are not going away, even though they're not perfect now? We don't even know exactly what their impact would be and whatnot. Either somebody who tries to insert it a lot in their day-to-day operations, or somebody who does not. Who do you think is going to win? And who do you think is going to have the better approach? Then for the other one, is going to be just, okay, my competitor has done it. I am now forced to do it. And I'm sure it's not quite romantic per se, but it is exactly what happens all the time in companies. There is no line in between. It's usually one that convinces itself, if any, that the thing is somehow good and is willing to bear the costs of trying. And the cost of trying is always maybe more time than the actual result that you can have with a ready-to-go, keys in hand, as you would say in the car industry, so to speak, solution. So tailor-made, totally, ready to go. But again, in terms of money, actually quite more expensive to wait because you try less. So you have less tries that have gone to waste, but you still have to spend money to have the actual solution ready, which might not be in MVP stage, might not be in testing phase, might just be on the market for a while, and maybe is serving your competitor. Maybe they have an exclusive, and so then you need to pay to use it way more than what your competitor is doing. Maybe, you know, they still have a head start, even though the price might be the same. The price might be the same, and so there is something to be thinking about whilst trying understanding and assessing the consequences of just pure inaction. And you know what's the worst thing about it is that some companies are just trying and wait, are playing the waiting game when there's really nothing to be waiting for. Stuff is there and technology has shown us the thing is actually here. And I get it. Sometimes it's just you are working for the balance sheet that needs to be shown to investors, especially if you're a public company. And sometimes it's good to invest in some stuff, but actually once you need to show the return, timing is pretty bad. Because again, the timing of Wall Street, the timing of the stock exchange is clearly not the time of your time needed, time of innovation. And so I totally, perfectly get it. But still, it is not an acceptable answer for you as a company leader or as a person that really wants, even not from a company owner perspective, but wants to, for example, get a promotion in his or her space in a company. If you want to do so, you better try and bring new things in that make sense and that really make a difference for you and your peeps. And one of those might just be this. It takes time. It takes effort. It's not romantic at all because, to be honest, there's nothing romantic in just bearing the cost before seeing the result. But it is what it is. And so guess who is going to win? The one who tried a lot of time and maybe some of those failed, or the one that just waited and 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 waited. This is not a waiting game. It's a waiting game for maybe some corporation that can avoid, can avoid scrutiny for a while because its senior management just wants 90-day results. And actually, it's probably, thought as this management is just there for a while and just wants to secure their compensation, their pension, their whatnot. So, yeah. But yeah, this is a totally different ballgame than what life actually is for you. So I hope this gave you a way of thinking about things. Now we're barking. And so I will send you kisses, hugs, and a bit of barks.